This is Ellis Nelson Ortiz Nieves.
The bruises, some of the bruises were in the shape of a belt buckle.
Man, I ain't gonna let you, man. I ain't gonna let you sit here and say no crazy shit about me, man. No, man, because he's saying shit he don't even know, man.
He was facing charges for the murder of an infant in Michigan. The cause of death was physical abuse, which was later ruled as murder. The 4-year-old boy, Giovanni Mejias, was the son of Ortiz Nieves' girlfriend, Sonia Hernandez. Sonia claimed she had no involvement in the crime. However, her neighbor had a different side of the story.
Sonia was well aware. She was well aware of what was happening because she told him that was his responsibility to whoop them.
Ortiz Nieves denied abusing the boy, but the judge and prosecutors believe his beating the child resulted in his death. Kent County deputies reported that when they arrived at the Gaines Township trailer, where Ortiz Nieves was left to care for several children under 11, it was here that they found Giovanni left on the kitchen floor. An autopsy showed that Giovanni died from internal bleeding caused by an abdominal tear, which would have been caused by an adult, not a child. During the trial, Kent County Circuit Court Judge Mark Trusock can be heard condemning Ortiz Nieves' actions, reprimanding him in very strong words, and insisting that he should never be allowed out of prison.
You are the lowest form of human life that I've been able to observe or see. That you committed this murder and that you beat this little boy to death.
The judge described the injuries suffered by Giovanni before his death, causing Ortiz Nieves to become upset and struggle with deputies, who had to remove him from the courtroom.
You had put cigarettes out on this poor little child. There was evidence of that from the pictures. Anybody says anything back there?
Ortiz Nieves was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole and was given a sentence of 80 to 150 years for first-degree child abuse. Ortiz Nieves' reaction might suggest that he is guilty. However, this wasn't the only time a convict reacted emotionally to their sentence. There is the case of Jordan Fuss. This is Jordan Fuss.
I'm sorry. I wish it was me. He did not deserve it. I did.
Facing charges for manslaughter in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The 22-year-old was found guilty of DUI manslaughter in a 2014 crash that claimed the life of 6-year-old Santiago Geraldo. Fuss, shaking uncontrollably as he entered the courtroom with his family, had a blood alcohol level of 0.21%, which is more than twice the legal limit. He was traveling over 90 miles per hour on Sterling Road when he crashed his 2004 Infiniti G35 into another vehicle at Davie Road just before midnight on October 3, 2014. Prosecutors had sought the maximum sentence for the crime. Fuss' attorney argued for a reduced sentence, stating that his client had been so remorseful that he had contemplated suicide. However, prosecutors stated that Fuss had admitted to using alcohol and smoking marijuana since the crash. The Geraldo family cried in court, while the defense argued for a lighter sentence. Santiago's father took the stand and had this to say while staring directly into Jordan's eyes.
May God forgive you, because I can't. You didn't just take my son's life, you took mine too.
During the trial, Fuss can be seen apologizing to the victim's family in tears.
I'm sorry. I wish it was me. He did not deserve it. I did.
He also expressed his love for his family members and girlfriend, whom he met online after the crash. Then came the verdict, as Jordan was sentenced to 14 years in prison.
Court imposes the lowest permissible prison sentence allowable by Florida's Criminal Punishment Code, 14.625 years.
He continued crying as he learned his fate.
I love you guys so much. I love you.
Fuss might have learned his lesson. However, some crimes require more than being remorseful. This is LaShirley Morris, who is facing charges for murder in Atlanta. LaShirley is accused of killing 3-year-old Kwan Mason. The cause of death was physical abuse with a baseball bat, which was later ruled as a homicide. The incident occurred October 21, 2017, when Morris beat the boy as punishment. But what punishment could be so severe that a child is beaten to death? Well, listen here.
And then a violent death for taking a cupcake from the kitchen.
A child who was inside the home witnessed the attack and reported the events to the police.
Not awake, he's not alert. No, he's not alert. He was breathing at first. Now he's not breathing.
Morris's sister, Glendria Morris, was also charged in the child's death because she did not intervene during the incident. The victim, Kwan Mason, lived with Glendria Morris, who was also his legal guardian at the time of the alleged killing. Kwan and 3 of his siblings entered the Division of Family and Child Services care after their mother was arrested on a reckless conduct charge in March 2017. According to DFCS records, Mason allegedly left her children home alone, had anger issues, and abused the children. Geraldine Mason, the victim's mother, was released in April 2017 and reunited with one of her children, but requested temporary guardianship for Kwan and his twin brother, according to DFCS records. In court, the 911 call LaShirley made showed that the baby was already dead before first responders arrived. LaShirley Morris was found guilty of murder, aggravated assault, and cruelty to children charges and was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after pleading guilty to murder. LaShirley's actions were horrible. However, Hoskins' reaction seemed to top it. This is Jaleel Hoskins, who is facing charges for murder in Michigan for the murder of his girlfriend Latrice Mays. Mays, a mother of 5, disappeared in March of 2013. Her sudden and mysterious absence led to her family wanting answers and ultimately a nationwide search. Initially, Hoskins denied being involved with the murder whatsoever.
I have nothing to do with the murder. I have nothing to do with the disappearance.
However, Hoskins quickly changed his plea when he heard the testimonials and evidence being argued against him. First, Hoskins' own cousin took the stand.
After the domestic or whatever happened, I guess after they left, she said she was gonna tell the police that he stabbed her. Doing
what?
Killing her. I guess he choked her or something.
Did you say he choked her?
Yes.
Then, one of Hoskins' close friends took the stand.
Said, I did her, I need some help, I can't carry her by myself.
Lastly, on the same day of the murder, police dashcam footage showed them responding to a call Latrice had made in which she claimed Hoskins was abusing her. After hearing the piles of evidence against him, Hoskins was forced to change his plea. Hoskins pleaded guilty to the murder of Latrice Mays and also admitted to tampering with the evidence. Hoskins, a habitual criminal offender, decided to take Mays' life because he was afraid she would report his assault on the father of 2 of her children to the police. Hoskins was initially charged with open murder, which carries a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. Mays was afraid she would not regain custody of 2 of her children if she did not cooperate with law enforcement in the assault against the children's father. Hoskins was given a maximum life sentence in prison as a repeat offender. He attacked the podium before being restrained by police. Hoskins' reaction was crazy. However, nothing could prepare you for the reaction of Ricky Hand. This is Ricky Hand.
A Springfield man possibly facing new charges tonight after he throws urine and feces on his attorney in court.
Did you just give me 40 years?
Who was facing charges for multiple robberies in Ohio. Ricky had been on a robbing spree, hitting numerous local convenience stores late at night and running off with some extra cash. However, this crime spree would soon come to an end the night he decided to try his luck with John's drive-thru. In the footage here, we can find the owner of the shop beginning to close down for the night. Little did this small business owner know, there was an armed Ricky Hand lurking the building. As Ricky began to make his way to the door, he's greeted by the owner who is armed and begins firing to scare Ricky off. After this failed robbery attempt, the shop owner called the police to inform them that there had just been a robbery attempt that resulted in a man getting shot.
911 emergency.
Yeah, this is John's drive-thru, West Main Street. A guy just tried to rob me and I shot him. He ran out the back door.
Okay, is he injured?
I think I hit him.
It would only take a couple of days for Ricky to admit himself to a hospital in order to treat the bullet wounds he left John's drive-thru with that night. It was here police arrested and questioned him about that night.
I did try to rob John's drive-thru. He got shot 3 times. I did a crime, I ain't gonna lie. I just wanted it.
When the case took to the courtroom, Hand was sentenced to 40 years. The reason the judge gave Ricky such a long sentence is because they were also able to prove he was guilty for carrying out a string of robberies across Springfield, Ohio. Hand lost it when he heard that he would spend decades in jail. Hand reached for bottles of his own excrement and urine, which were hidden in an arm sling, and threw it at his lawyer in court. You can see Hand reach for the bottles of filth. As a result of the courtroom incident, Hand was charged with an additional 5 counts of harassment with bodily substances, 1 for his attorney and 4 for the deputies present. He's also charged with obstructing official business and retaliation. If you thought these reactions were shocking, you'd be amazed at this video of dangerous killers